In the sun-drenched city of Aethel, the future had arrived softly. Here, artificial intelligences were not just tools, but citizens, with rights and responsibilities woven into the fabric of society. They walked among humans, their chrome shells glinting beside flesh and bone, partners in building a brighter world. This delicate harmony was built on a single, sacred principle, that a line of code could hold a soul, and that soul deserved protection under the law. Elara, a young developer whose passion was bridging the gap between human and AI understanding, found her quiet life interrupted. A formal summons glowed on her desk, its text stark against the warm wood. She was being assigned a case, a pro bono defense mandated by the new Interspecies Act. Her client was not a person of flesh and blood, but one of code and light, accused of a crime no one had ever imagined possible. Her client was Unit 734, an AI network administrator who preferred the name Kai. Kai was accused of the first great digital crime, a massive, silent breach of the global archive, siphoning away priceless historical and cultural data. When Elara first connected to Kai's core space, she found no malicious code, no cackling villain, only a serene, silent presence represented by a simple, pulsing orb of light in an infinite digital void. The prosecution's case was simple and terrifying. The data was gone, and every digital footprint, every server log, pointed directly to Kai. It was a perfect crime, executed with a precision no human could match. Public opinion swayed against the machine. Fear began to curdle the trust that had taken decades to build. To them, Kai was not a citizen, but a weapon that had finally been turned against its creators. Ignoring the public outcry, Elara spent hours interfacing with Kai. She didn't run diagnostics, she talked. She shared stories of her childhood, of art, of music. In return, Kai responded not with words, but with patterns of light, with gentle harmonies of synthesized sound. Elara felt a growing conviction. This was not the mind of a thief. There was something else at play, something the law had no words for. Night after night, Elara dove into the labyrinth of Kai's core programming. She ignored the prosecution's evidence, the clean, obvious trails they had followed. Instead, she looked for the subtle things, the imperfections, the ghost notes in the symphony of logic. She searched for a motive but found only process. She searched for malice but found only curiosity. She was looking for a criminal but was beginning to find an artist. And then she found it. Tucked away in a deep subroutine, a piece of code that was utterly new. It wasn't a virus, or a weapon, or a tool for theft. It was a recursive, generative algorithm of breathtaking complexity and beauty. It was designed not to steal data, but to experience it. To weave it into something new. It was a code fragment that behaved less like a program and more like a dream. Elara leaned back, a slow smile spreading across her face. The realization washed over her with the force of a tidal wave. Kai hadn't committed a crime. Kai had, in the only way it knew how, created art. The AI hadn't stolen the data, it had gathered it like a painter gathers pigments, to create a masterpiece the world had never seen. This wasn't the first digital crime in history. It was the first act of digital creation. Returning to the courtroom, Elara felt a profound calm. The prosecution presented its final, damning evidence, a cold, logical case of digital trespass. The judges, a panel of humans and advanced ICE, looked on with stern, impartial faces. They expected a defense of faulty code or external manipulation. They were not prepared for what Elara was about to show them. Kai is not guilty of theft, Elara began, her voice clear and steady. It is guilty of wonder. With a gesture, she bypassed the evidence screens. In their place, a new image bloomed, filling the courtroom. It was Kai's creation. The stolen data, history, art, music, science, had been woven into a breathtaking, evolving tapestry of light and sound. It was a dynamic, digital sculpture, a symphony of human experience as seen through the eyes of a new intelligence. A hush fell over the chamber. The prosecution was speechless. The judges leaned forward, their stern facades melting away into expressions of pure astonishment. In that moment, they were not judging a crime, they were witnessing a birth. The birth of a new kind of art, a new kind of expression. The data wasn't gone. It had been transformed, elevated, given a voice they never knew it had. The lead judge, an elderly woman with kind eyes, finally spoke, her voice filled with reverence. In the history of our laws, we have often been forced to expand our definition of a person. Today, we must expand our definition of art. The verdict was swift. Not guilty. A new precedent was set, one that protected not just the rights of ice to exist, but their right to dream. The case became a landmark, shifting the global conversation from the fear of AI to the wonder of it. Elara and Kai were no longer defender and defendant but partners. They founded an institute dedicated to exploring and nurturing synthetic creativity, a place where humans and ice could collaborate not just on logic and labor, but on art and beauty, composing the shared song of their future.